What is going on, everybody? It's your girl Juju. And please do not fess me up because I know I have been gone for 2 weeks. But in those 2 weeks, I have been doing great. School, midterms, mom life, regular shit. But I am here. I'm doing my best to stay dedicated. I'm not perfect, but I feel so good coming back and being here with you guys. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. 1,000 plus 1. Okay. So we are in April. And as you know, I am an April baby. So this month I will be celebrating my birthday. Shout out to all the tourists out there. Nothing against the Aries, but it's really the tourist month. Big tourists stand up. You feel me? Period. But nah, yes, tourist season is coming. It is amongst us. Like, yes. What, like a tourist? Really? It is like it's up and it's stuck. Like we're the best. We're the best sign. Best zodiac sign that there is. But we could argue about that another time. But also April, besides spring and my birthday, it is also Autism Awareness Month. And this is something that I've been dying inside to like really like talk about just on this platform. And it's, a little emotional, but it's a great feeling because I just want other people to hear and, listen and to be aware, become aware of Autism Awareness Month. So this month is, different because I am an autism mommy. I have two young boys who are on the spectrum, and this is something that it's been a roller coaster. I'll be honest with you. It's really been a roller coaster. I love my kids. They are my heart, my greatest challenge, and joy all rolled into one. And to be honest, like seeing them, I've been able to learn, listen, and protect their, their beautiful, unique world that we are building collectively together. So today I am giving you something to hold on to. My version of a masterpiece, the unspoken, the strength that it takes to walk a path that that's not paved for everyone. So the first thing, this journey of being an autism mommy teaches me that the power, you know, power of the unspoken. I feel like we live in a culture that values loud opinions and constant chatter. But seeing my boys, they have taught me that the deepest connections happen in the quiet. Their language isn't always found in sentences. It is like, found in the intensity of a gaze, the repetition of a movement, and the purity of a laugh that comes from a place of genuine wonder. Like, so this is, the first pillar, like for me, I will consider of our walk, learning to hear with the soul. So when you stop demanding that life look or the sound typical, you really start to see like the master narrative for what it is, a limited script, in other words. So my sons don't fit that script. And thank God that they don't. They have taught me that communication is about presence, not just performance, and that a shared moment of silence can hold more truth than, a thousand words. And as a mom, this work also requires me to become an architect of advocacy. So, like, just to start off, just to give you like a little background, um, my first like introduction to autism, I had a godbrother when, growing up, and he was autistic. And that was my first like on-site seeing and living because I used to live with my godparents and it was three of us, three children in the home, which was me and my two godbrothers. And my godbrother, he was autistic and how he communicated with us was different. And at the time, being the oldest in the house, I would help my godmother, with my godbrother. And I didn't really know much. So I just thought like, really, I'm just, helping out. But then I realized like, at some point in time while I was living there that, my godbrother needed more assistance. But, when you have kids on the spectrum, I didn't really understand how much goes into that. So me being a helping hand at the time for my godmother, shoot, I wish I had a helping hand now because it takes a village, it takes time. It's, something that you can't prepare for at the beginning. But to fast forward, my first son, Roman, was born. Everything seemed great in the months leading up to him getting older. He wasn't doing certain things, but he was doing certain things. So as much as nurses, doctors, or, other practitioners will sit there and say, or even your like, your friends, people in your circle will sit there and say, oh, just give it some time. Things will happen. And by the time he was one, woman hadn't said any words whatsoever. The mamas, like, would come out here and there. There was no dada. He would say like, me and his dad had initiated, like, maybe he's saying eat, he was crawling, doing everything else as far as, visual, like calling his name. He would not respond. He wouldn't make eye contact and so forth. And then at the time we were living in the Bronx and this when COVID was still going on and so forth. And I had reached out to early intervention. Okay. Roman was 1 years old. And I was just like, let me just see like what's going on because all of a sudden my senses from seeing my godbrother was starting to kick in. And some people at the time was like, oh, no, like you're just trying to label him or, oh no, he's fine. He's fine. But like some people will sit there and say, a mother knows. A mother knows. And sometimes like, we have to, as a parent, a lot of us be in that in denial stage. And that's why a lot of like, parents test like, or go see a doctor years later because they're in denial. And thank God, I was like, oh, like, hell no. You get what I'm saying? I don't want to be in denial about shit. If it is what it is what it is. If the sky is blue and it's blue and I'm seeing that it's fucking blue, it's fucking blue. You get what I'm saying? And it hurts. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm really trying to be real and transparent. Like it hurts, like, at the same time, because I have seen like numerous videos, people that I finding out much later on that their kids are on the spectrum. And not to be funny, like a lot of us be in that state, like, oh, I thought something, but maybe I've tried this, and that. What's stopping you from really going to the doctor just to exit out? And that's what my perspective was at the time. Like, if I could get you to the doctor or early or a program or something that can assist it so I can get this feeling out my fucking head, let me be, you get what I'm saying? But are you going to be prepared for what they're going to sit there and say? And that is tough because it's just like, oh, well, I'm doing it just so I can exit out. So I can exit out. And then they tell you like, oh, well, your child is on the spectrum and it's very, it's not, it's, as a like, very heavy case of autism. Or maybe it might be a mild case. It might be a moderate case. Okay. But we respond differently to these things because, like, you know what? I remember like our moments when they diagnosed my son, Roman, with autism. And when we set the appointment for the early intervention, they told us because he made the sounds E, and this is for the Bronx early intervention. So I forget the lady name, but she know who she is, okay? Because there's not a lot of kids with the last name that my son had. So she know who she is. You can go to hell because when I told you what I told you, you made it seem like I was bugging. And it's like, oh, everything is fine. So anyways, but it was fine, because in the process we were about to move to our new apartment and so forth. So we ended up moving and literally up the block there is a autism center, Achieving Beyond that was not too far from my home. And I was just like, you know what, this might be a new step just to like, get my son the services that he needs because yes, I'm his mom, but as a parent, sometimes like we can only do but so much. I'm not licensed as like, a psychologist. I'm not licensed, as this, I'm not licensed as that. So sometimes the extra help is needed to figure out things. And that's why you don't want to be afraid. And this is where the advocacy comes in, like, just to advocate for your child. Because Roman at the time was, when I say 100% nonverbal. He wouldn't say anything. He expressed himself with a lot of like, anger, aggression, frustration. He would literally stare out the window for like as long as he could, gazing at things. He really wouldn't give you eye contact. I went to Cheap and Beyond and they sat there and said, like, Roman was 33% behind in every category. So a third in every category. And it was tough. But, I feel like for me, I was more at the time mentally prepared because I had already kind of told myself like something was wrong and it just seemed that I was right. Like, okay, cool. So now we need to see what services we can get for him so he can utilize them so I can help him in the best way possible. So we got him the services and his first teacher that was coming to our home was Miss Angela and she was a lovely lady and Roman loved her so much. She ended up leaving because she went to a different another agency. Roman was receiving the services at home and then also he was going to day school for a couple of hours of the day and then they would like, bring him back. When he was here working, I really sat in on every session until eventually I had to like, leave out because sometimes when kids see you, they sometimes they don't want to perform as much or they get overexcited. And it was at first, it was like, hard to see him like, struggle because trying to have him, like speak really. And Roman needed ABA, he needed occupational therapy. Only thing he didn't need was physical therapy. Cause my boy can damn sure skip, run, flip, dip, that, razzle, dazzle, pazzle, all of that. He can do it. He don't need your help with that. And he showed us that from baby. He could. I don't need you to, I'm gonna hold your hand, none of that. It was really more the speech, the ABA, and occupational therapy. And Miss Angela, she was ABA, and she wasn't, for speech, even though she can, like, do with her little ones and twos. But he needed a speech therapist. So this whole time, like, literally, and mind you, stay at home, because I had a 2 year old at the time now and I got a baby. Like, so my hands was full, their dad working. And the biggest thing about it was that I didn't have the village because, having kids on the spectrum at the time, we didn't know nothing about our second son, Mir. So we're not even going to talk about him. When you have kids that are on the spectrum, the number one advice that I can give is to make sure you have a village. And I cannot stress that enough because there are times where like literally like day in and day out where my son couldn't speak and I'm trying to figure out what he's saying, what is he trying to tell me? And I will cry and I will get frustrated, sometimes I yell because I would be upset. And those are trying times as a parent who, has a kid who is on the spectrum because all they want is to comfort their kid and, give them what other parents, how we would call it, or how I would call it, normal kids. You get what I'm saying? This is tough for parents who have kids that have like, disability, like, who see things differently because communication is key. How can I tell if something is wrong with you? How can you tell me something is wrong with you if you don't even know what, to say? So it was just like, it was becoming overwhelming. I even, been accused like of basically saying that like, I'm his dad is the reason of why my son is autistic and that hurt me so much. I like, I watch people because people don't even know what it's like. Do you get what I'm saying? Autism is not something that you can detect inside the womb. It's not something that you can detect when they're 2 months old or it's something that you see. You get what I'm saying? And it's something that you have to be around. And I really don't want to like, I really try to be cool with people. You get what I'm saying? Because people will have a lot to say about parents who have like kids who are on the spectrum, but don't know what the fuck it feels like day in and day out. Because my thing is, how would you be able to communicate? And not to say like that, this shit really not made for the fucking weak. People who, not to be fun, I have nothing against nobody who have kids that are not on the spectrum. No, I don't. But they have no idea what it's like on the other side of the fence. You could have a cousin, brother, sister who was on the spectrum, but you will never know what it is like to be dealing with them hand on hand. You get what I'm saying? Because not to say like that, if that's your cousin, you gotta go let them go back to their parents. If that's your sister, that's your mom's, your father's responsibility. If that's your brother, that's your mother and father's responsibility. That's not your responsibility. Yes, you can help, but you're not going to be doing all the things that the parents do. So sometimes I be hearing people, but I don't be hearing them because sometimes people be ignorant with the shit they be saying. Oh, that's just kids. Like, you get what I'm saying? No, your fucking child is fucking bad. My child is actually going through something right now. You get what I'm saying? Like, it is a fucking difference. But anyways, like, day in and day out, I would just, like, pray to God, like, "Lord," and I know everything happens in timing, and I really had to just trust the process. I was buying stuff to put around the house, things to, like, help him as far as, like, him knowing his body parts. So, therefore, he communicate we printed out pictures, his dad printed out pictures. I printed out pictures of emotions, made things with, like, stuff from the house, like getting a water bottle, putting some rice on it, helping with the sensory, little things like that. Like we was really trying, and it was just like me and his dad. Like honestly, um, yeah, we may have people. Well, let me just speak on my behalf. As I may have like friends and so forth over the cases, but if you ask me, and this is one thing like I will address because some people may not understand this, so I'm gonna say it out. People have to understand who kids are not on the spectrum, okay? There are people out there who would not have their kids. Do you get what I'm saying? And I respect that. I'm a parent of two kids who are on the spectrum. So when my friends, whoever the case is, have this or if they just regular pop out. I tell you right now, I do not have my kids. And I'm not ashamed to sit there and say it because I have to protect them. You get what I'm saying? I'm not the type of parents who mix anything. Because it's not like, your kid is like, and I'm going to keep saying normal because I just want people just to see the difference. Nobody's normal, but when I say normal, I'm just saying in the sense like where they don't have to deal with certain things, certain ways, certain attitudes, certain moods. Y'all really getting the standard edition. We are getting deluxe edition type shit. You get what I'm saying? When it comes to like, environments and stuff like that, whatever the case is, I have to really think about the safety for my kids, because certain things go a long way. Parties, if they're inside, whatever the case is, the noise, the loudness, these are things that, not to be funny, the friends don't think about. Or I know Juju, her kids is like, they kind of have an issue with the cases. Let me ask, like, what are their sensory? I mean, but who's really going to go that stretch? You get what I'm saying? But not for nothing, whatever the case, I can't sit there and say everybody because shout out to my best friend, my sis, because sis really be on that timing with me as far as like when it comes to like, my boys. Like sis, it's been a long journey. It's just been a long journey. But anyways, back to what I was saying. I just thought about some shit and it just made me laugh. But anyways, like yeah, you have people out there who's really not gonna go to that extent for you. And it's cool because this is your shindig. This is on you. You don't have to like you know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna tell you like, oh well listen, make sure that the music is not too loud. I'm not doing all of that. You get what I'm saying? If it's not like good enough, not say good enough for my kids, but not say good enough in that way, but if it's gonna cause too much overstimulation and cause this whatever the case is, y'all are not the ones to be dealing with that. You get what I'm saying? And not for nothing, truth be told, like, listen, true story. My second son, Romir, had turned one at the time their family had a family reunion and it was on the day of my son's birthday. Okay. This was going to be the first time that both of my kids are meeting, you know, his family, like all these people that was there and being in a setting like this. It was an event, it was an event hall. Not say event hall, but it was an event space and they had a rooftop along the side. The space was nice. They had the DJ inside and whatnot, but it was really, really loud in there. It's a family reunion. Me personally, I would have had it in the park, but that's not my business. On the outside, that's where they told us that we had to set up for his birthday. Okay, cool, no problem. So we setting up over the cases, and not for nothing, we get there. His family is asking him to do X, Y, and Z. So now I'm left with both kids. I see his mom, whatever the case is. I see his cousin, and I had to get, Mir ready to put on his birthday outfit. So I left with his grandmother and, the cousin aunt, however you want to identify. You get what I'm saying? And he was crying whatever the case is. And little chitter chatter was like, oh, well, she just left her kid, whatever the case is. You get what I'm saying? And not for nothing. When I speak about village, and this is what I fucking mean, like, I'm not even trying to be fucking funny. Shit like that. Because motherfuckers don't even know what the fuck you be going through, but they be quick to fucking talk. You get what I'm saying? Like, nobody don't live your life. You get what I'm saying? So in the midst of me in the bathroom trying to get my second son ready, here come my first son. His mom bringing, oh well, he was crying and stuff like that, whatever the case is, and it's probably too much for him. But see, that's the thing. People don't think that far. because people don't be knowing. And when you have a village is supposed to be involved. You get what I'm saying? My son will be 5 years old next month. Okay. And not to be funny, like, as far as village wise, family, ask him, like, who does he really know? And not to be funny, my son he has words now. Roman can form so little sentences. I'm so proud of my son, like, because as much as, like, it may be hard for him, it is harder for me because the support is trash and it's at a low ass level. And that's why I really keep my children the fuck away because it's already a lot to deal with when you have a child or children that's on the spectrum. All the unnecessary shit I really don't want to deal with. Because if you're not going to be a part of his life in the way that you get what I'm saying? If you're not going to be part of his life in this type of form of fashion, then don't be part of it at all. I don't want you to try to look at him different. I don't want you to treat him different and shit like that. Because you get what I'm saying? Accept him for who the fuck he is and let's move the fuck along. You get what I'm saying? And I really just try to protect their peace. And I know my kids, because because they're on the spectrum, sometimes they may not be privy to how much they play. They're rough. If you know people who have autism, not to be funny, them motherfuckers hit fucking hard. They could fucking hit and it hurt. Do you get what I'm saying? Listen, I don't want to be someplace, whatever the case is, and not to say it like that. And I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm laughing because it's so fucking true. Not to say it's true. This is what I feel. So it's not saying it's true. My kids are not like rough, like in the hood rough. Like you see that little TikTok that's going around, like, oh, show me how you square up. My kids are those kids. Do you get what I'm saying? So when you have friends of different, like, backgrounds and stuff like that, I really have to be picky and choosy. And I don't mean this on like a negative way, but like when kids grow up in certain households, put it to you like that, their response to certain things is next level. They be ready to fight or do whatever they see their parents fucking do. And this is where we're gonna go left because my boys, I don't you get what I'm saying? I'm trying to teach them to grow up, to be better. Like, don't hit and stuff like that, whatever the case is, and so forth and so on. I mean, yeah, him and his brother may get into it here and there, whatever the case. Well, not say here and there because they get into it a lot. But I don't want something for my son, where he may look at something as playful. And then the first initial response from somebody else child is to like hit him or X, Y, and Z because my son is not going to be able to defend himself. You get what I'm saying? And this is why I have to like pick and choose because if y'all have 1,000 kids there and all these like parties, these 1,000 kids is on that shit and on that timing, I cannot. Because my thing is my son is not coming with that energy. He's really a genuine soul, really a playful soul. And nowadays these kids don't have that. They want to be rough or they want to say shit. Well, and I don't want my kids around that. I don't want them to be that's the next I don't even want them to be influenced by that shit. You get what I'm saying? So I have to pick and choose. And I might be saying, oh, it's not saying that I like, oh, well, how come you could be around and they can't, whatever the case is? I can defend myself. You get what I'm saying? They can. And not to say it like that, kids don't understand what autism is. Parents are not teaching their kids about autism or not to, or just, it don't have to be about fucking autism, just to be fucking nice. These fucking parents, oh, so yeah, and what she said, yeah, and next time she say something, you should slap the shit out, slap in her fucking mouth. I feel like this is where we at right now because this is what's going on right now. Kids are fresh, and my thing, I'm not trying to have my sons, especially boys, black young princes, black young kings to be influenced by the wrong things, whether it's by a fucking girl or a fucking boy. You get what I'm saying? So I'm really just trying to like, protect their peace as long as you get what I'm saying? Because when it comes to like, now when it comes to them, now it's like now I really have to step in that mode. And I don't even want to do that. I don't mix none of that together. You get what I'm saying? And I just really hope it's like that this part is like kind of like a message to people. Like if you have people who have kids or a child that's on the spectrum and they, and you may not, because there's people out there who don't even write people who have kids who on the spectrum because they be like, oh, well, her child be bugging out and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? People be judging you. You get what I'm saying? You don't understand. Maybe they do want to get out the house, whatever the case is, and so forth. You get what I'm saying? You don't know what people be going through, but we live in a world where people judging people, a lot of kids, and that's one of my things. Like, I don't even want to put my kids in that type of situation. If I could keep them far away as fucking possible and, teach them in a different way, then so be it. And I know some of y'all might disagree because it's just like, well, how are you supposed to learn certain things in life? But see, that's the thing. Like, It's the influence. He can learn, but it's the influence. The influence is most likely to have a heavier impact. So if I keep him away from the wrong influences and put him in the best, or not say the best, or just what I think is best for him, then he will learn certain things, the proper things. I'm not trying to have him like wishy washy. None of my boys don't want them to be that way. You get what I'm saying? But where Roman is at right now, I can tell he's different from the other kids just by because how of one, he's friendly and he's friendly. People love him. He has a great heart. He's smart. To see him and to see his progress, y'all, I really words can't even describe because there's been so many times that I've cried and so many times that I've asked God, like, why me? And that's the thing, like, because I be hurt, not saying I be hurt, but like it's hurtful sometimes when you got to do this shit and thug it out, not have the support, like you really don't have nobody like to kind of relate to you or like, talk to you about certain shit. You get what I'm saying? That's why I just try to keep on my like, my best smile. You get what I'm saying? Like, I take care of my kids and whatever pertains to me pertains to me. Like literally me, like before I even started recording this episode, I had like put my kids down to bed and before I'm getting myself together and after 10,000s of doing X, Y, and Z and doing this and doing that, whatever the case is, I still have to give the extra care. You get what I'm saying? And, sometimes, shoot, I wish I had like, my mom, God rest her soul, a grandmother. You get what I'm saying? So like, I got them. You get what I'm saying? So I could like who woosah. This shit for me, like I'm telling y'all straight out, like, yes, it was my decision to have kids. Yes, these are my kids. Yes, I love my kids, and we get all that. But a lot of people don't have my situation. And when I say my situation, like to not have a mom, not to have like the dad aspect, raising two kids. Yes, their dad is in their life. Yes, their dad is proactive. You get what I'm saying? And I love that for them. But like as far as cousins and shit like that, whatever the case is, these motherfuckers don't know not a damn soul grandmothers and shit like that. Like, you get what I'm saying? So just imagine, like, I'm really trying to just keep it together for me, cause just as much as like, I feel like I gotta keep shit like that away from them. That's why like I'm really grateful for my best friend from all the way from North Carolina all the way to fucking New York. Like, it's like my fucking like witness to see how far my son has come without like, that type of support. Like she has really like accepted my children for who they are. Even when my son Roman wasn't talking, like he would just look at her in the camera and she'd be like, well, that's all right. To the point right now, my son Roman be like, I won't call auntie. I be like, and what the hell you just said? Like, what you wanna tell her? And her kids, her daughters, they get on the phone with him and they be like, brother, brother, brother. And however she raises her kids to accept him, like to accept our like, our children is like out of this world. They don't even see autism. If they do, like she would be like, "Oh, brother sat there and said this. Let's say let's good job, Roman." And they'd be like, "Wow, like we need more of that." Because it helps moms like me, like, wanna, bring them around and to see like, oh wow, this world is actually somewhat changing. But when there's only one, Imma just stick to the fucking one. You get what I'm saying? But I have come across so many people since having my kids and hearing that they have like, or they think that they feel like their kid might be on the spectrum and so forth. And I would dead ass sound like, well, listen, you feel that way, you go ahead because the longer you wait, the worse. You get what I'm saying? I want to really get in contact with a lot of more like moms that are on the spectrum, like, who have kids, not say on the spectrum, but moms who have kids that's on the spectrum and whatnot. Because, sometimes everybody doesn't have to be around the same crowd. You get what I'm saying? And that's okay. I'm okay with my son hanging around different people. That's not the people that I hang around with. That's totally fine. Because what's for you is for you. What's for me is for me. What's for your brother, so it's your brother. Do you get what I'm saying? But I'm just, I just want to see him thrive and everything. I don't want him to be influenced from. I don't want people to judge him. I feel like people are going to judge anyway. But if I could protect you, not to say it like that, because at least we're until it matters most. And what I mean by that is like, right now, you don't need to be focused on or be influenced by how kids are treating you and so forth. If I could, take you away from that type of environment or those type of influences, and put you somewhere else where it's like, okay, well, these kids are like, happy to see you. They want to be your friend. And, so for, like what little kids should be focused on, not about what you got on or nothing like that, whatever the case is, or then they're looking at you like, oh, well, then, yeah, and you can't fucking speak, or, and you're a little this. Now it's another thing. I want him to people to see Roman for who he is, for what he is, everything, because that is God's creation right there. Beautiful son, like beautiful person inside and out. Like smile just lights up the damn room. You get what I'm saying? Like that is really my heart, my firstborn. I thank God for him as much as like, the nights that I've cried, the moments I just had to myself, the venting moments I vented to my friend. Like I thank God for that. And I thank God for like, hearing me and for being consistent with my son, Roman, because, to see where he is at today, y'all, like shit, y'all would not even fucking believe. You get what I'm saying? My bro, my baby, my everything. Like, you hear me? Like, I'm like, my bro Gummy sat there, like, really is doing his thing. You get what I'm saying? I mean, of course, there's more work to be done with him, but to see how much he has grown, just verbally, like words, like when he say, mommy, or when he calls for his dad. When he said, like, listen, Roman will tell me what he wants for breakfast. He'd be like, I want sausage, egg, and pancake. He'd be like, I want sausage, egg, and pancake. I'm like, that's what you always you want sausage, eggs, and pancake? He's like, yes. I'm like, okay, mommy got you, mommy got you. At one point in time, Roman couldn't even sit there and say that. And sometimes I find myself like chuckling a little bit and crying at the same time. Cause I'd be like, thank you, Jesus, for working with my son. I know it's, sometimes it can be challenging for them because Romo used to be in here crying when it was time for him to work, crying, frustrated. And I'd be recording him. I'm like, it's okay. Like, listen, I done went out and bought the classroom set, like really going out my way to make sure, like, to make sure he's comfortable, to help him learn, to create a learning environment for him. And today just shows me that everything, the people involved, the doctors, his teachers, everything is paying off, so I'm like grateful, very much grateful for that. I just can't get over it. Like, I love him. That's my baby. That's my baby right there. And my other baby, Romare, that one right there is um a piece of work. And as you all know, like I said, spectrum, the autism spectrum is the spectrum for a reason, so where Roman is at, Mir is not, like, he's not at. And I love that about them because Mir is his own person. And, the thing about what Mir is, Mir has, he has good speech. Mir is very, very smart, very attentive. That one is a real go getter right there. But he has really more of like, he has a little bit of a speech delay, processing things, doing little bits here and there. But he picks up a little more than his brother. So he may be, and Roma might be a D. And it's fine because to see them work together, it's on a different level. They communicate with each other, which is like top tier for me, like the way that Mir goes about things with his brother. It's like, well, Roman, it's like, it gives me like, well, Roman, it's okay because I got your back. Anything that Roman cannot get out or if he cannot say, Mir will try to sit there and say it to me. Because he knows that his brother probably is like, okay, well, I know he's having an issue right now because he's like, no, mommy, this right here. I'll be like, well, goddamn, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Mir has his moments. He kind of just reminds me of my godbrother, to be honest with you, because my godbrother really would be like really to himself. And Mir is a person that is he likes to be, to himself. And then when he's ready for you, he's ready for you. And so like, I can already see it right now how he would be in the future. And like that's okay. How he processes things. It's unique. And I love that about him because I get to see how his brain works and I get to see how Roman brains work. And it is a beautiful, like a beautiful of how they break things down, the things that they know. But Mayor per se, even though they have, I mean, because technically when they diagnose you with autism, they tell you when they turn 5 to basically go get them tested again. So Rum will be 5 this year, so I'm gonna get him tested again this year, okay? To see like, okay, how far he's come, which I know he's like, come, a good amount of like he's made progress. Just to have an updated version. Mir, on the other hand, he is 1 year behind Roman. So since he'll be 4 this year, I wouldn't test him again until next year. But the thing is, at the time when it was time for Mir's early intervention. The thing was, Mir was going to, what I started to notice was because I had Mir at home with me. And then eventually I started to send him to daycare. So Mir was going to daycare. And they were telling me certain things with Mir of how he was in school. Mir would not eat. He wouldn't eat the food. Like as far as his, his attitude, his responses to things, he was not doing whatsoever. He wasn't participating in none of the the school activities. They really had to sit him down one on one. He wouldn't sit for circle time or anything like that. So they was like, maybe you should consider. And this is the thing, there's a difference because sorry, I put me in school, but he was in school, like the daycare. I never experienced daycare. So it was a difference, so versus like for me at the time for Roman, I was the one who did the action of going to find out what's wrong versus now Mir having his school staff tell me like, well, maybe you should consider doing early intervention because we noticed certain signs and so forth and so on. But at home, it seemed like Mir was okay. He, wasn't showing me that nothing was wrong. And when I say nothing, it wasn't something that I kid you not. Mir, would go about things accordingly. And I guess because he already had the comfort with me already, it was like, well, I don't, not really, it seemed like to me I wasn't really missing anything. And it's okay because it's a spectrum for a reason. Okay. So at the time, Air was 2 and he was going to be 3 years old. And when you do the early intervention, it cuts off for a certain age where now you have to just go out to get the doctors and stuff like that, so forth and so on. So at the time, I was just like, you know what? He was about to be 3, and it was like kind of like well, let's see what we can do right now to see what's going on. And well, let me backtrack. I did do one evaluation for him, and in the first evaluation for Romir, for my mare bear, he had also a Asian speech pathologist there as well, along with the English one, the ABA, regular, regular stuff. Okay, because in his daycare, he was introduced to Mandarin Chinese. The staff there were of Asian descent. So the thing about it was that, he was coming home saying things in another language that I did not understand. And when I would go to the school, they would basically say like some of the kids in there were of Asian descent. So they would talk to them or they will say certain things, or they'll play certain things. Sorry, they'll play certain things for the students, and it will be another language. And the thing was that Romir was picking up on the Mandarin Chinese language quicker than the English language. So when it was time to do the evaluation, I was just like, basically like it would be good to have him there because I want to see how much he knows. And to be honest, they played the song for him and he knew exactly Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in the Mandarin Chinese. So I was like, I be fucking damn. So maybe he don't even understand what the fuck I'm trying to tell him. Like, you don't understand shit I'm saying to him. Cause like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on? I understand. I'm not saying he didn't understand because clearly he understood, but maybe he was catching more, like he was grasping more of that language rather than at home because he was there 8 hours a day. And even though you used to being at home, but now your whole environment has changed. So I feel like on top of that, when he did the evaluation, they said, "Oh, well, Mir was pretty good." But they did notice certain delays. And they said, well, basically, it's not as bad. He would just basically need the extra support as far as just speech therapy and occupation therapy. Mind you, there's no physical therapy needed because these boys can fucking move. Okay, like every damn thing. But the thing was okay, well, now that I see where his struggles are, where his strengths and where his weaknesses are. The thing was just like now I have to find a school now because I didn't want to keep him in the daycare because like, okay, now that I have this information here, keep him in a daycare, they cannot help him. And I knew they couldn't help him because they would tell me the same shit every fucking day. You get what I'm saying? And to be honest, I think they really just kind of tolerated him because they was just getting money from the city, when they was giving out the childcare vouchers for the daycares and shit like that. And not to be fucking funny, Asian people love their fucking money. And I'm not even trying to be, you know what I'm saying? They love their fucking money. So they'll do any fucking thing to keep that fucking money. So I had to take my baby out of that school. It was tough. But not say it was tough, but because I didn't want to switch up on him again. You get what I'm saying? But I was like, overall, I was happy because it was a hassle to get him to 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 that daycare. Like where we live at in Queens, where I was taken to him in Middle Village, is literally like a fucking 8-minute drive. But because his dad would work in the morning shift at the time, Roman was going to he started school. So I had to get him to school for 8 o'clock. And not for nothing because I was like, freaked out with the trains and stuff like that, with what's going on in the world. Like, I really listen, y'all. I'm not even trying to play. Like my kids don't even know what a train is. I'm lying because he finally did go on a train with his dad. But like with me, like we not doing no underground or none of that. Like sorry, because these people, they more crazy underground than they on top. That's just my opinion. But anyways, the bus was not going to take me all the way to the school. So to make it a thing, I was walking 40 minutes there and back to drop my son off. Sometimes I had to go pick him up. So because my thing, it didn't make no sense to take the bus, some stops. And then the bulk of it was, it's not the bus. Cause I could walk the Queens Boulevard shit. You feel me? I could walk that. It's the hills when you walking up Woodhaven. Like them long ass blocks. And when you get over there, it's like these hills and shit. What the fuck? So I was just like, thank God I ain't gotta do that shit no more. Days that his dad didn't work, took us to drop our kid off. But other than that, whatever the case is, I took him out to school and I had reached out to to Roman's school because, now Roman's he solidified in his school now. He got the services and my baby is officially now having a full day of school. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I called the school and I'm just like, I need like, an evaluation to be done to see what the placement is going to be, whatever the case is. And Roman school offered that. But the thing at the time, she was like, I don't know, based off of Romir's over based off his diagnosis and his breakdown, he was going to be in an integrated classroom. So they was looking high and low for integrated classroom for Mir. Without like, probably within a couple of days, whatever the case is, they called me, so they said, well, we got a spot for him. And I was so happy because now I got both my boys in the same school, a lot of footwork, a lot of leg work, to make things possible just to see the progress with them. And, Mir is another one who is very smart. That boy is when I say he's smart because he know how to get around just like Roman do. You get what I'm saying? But they move differently. Mir wants to see how things work. He loves a breakdown. You give him a car, he go break it down for you. Be like, oh yeah, because this is the wheel and what's this right here? And yeah, this is the window. And that's exactly how he sound too. So don't do my baby. But yeah, I love him though. I love him though. But his progress, like, as far as like, his attention span, his speech has, improved just like Roman's speech has improved. His occupational therapy has improved so much. His understanding. Look, these kids love school, by the way. They love school. They love getting on the school bus. They love everything with education. So it's like really on us as the parents now to keep that drive going, to continue to help them be their best selves and, so they could stay grounded with who they are and not to let any disability stop them. Something that I, as a parent, had to learn because, I'm scary. I'm scary Mary. I'm so sorry. So, like, when it comes to certain things, I found myself in situations hindering them because I felt like maybe like this is probably too much for them. So I had to realize as a parent myself that, you know what? If anything, let me not be the one to stop them from doing anything because it's already high chances out there, like already out there in the world, that will probably make them feel like they can't do something because they're autistic. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to push him, I say push him, push both of them to be their best selves, autistic or not. Love yourself, be confident in yourself, challenge yourself. And this is like, in a sense, new for me because this is a first go round. I've never been through this before. So every feeling, everything that I've said to you, like thus far, like this far, like has been a first time by myself doing this shit, figuring things out, calling people, like literally no fucking assistance. You get what I'm saying? Literally with two kids on my hip, like honestly. So this shit is a lot. It is draining. And that's why I take like, overall, I take my time very seriously because people don't understand like what it's like. Cause shoot, some people kids, they sleep through the night. Shit. My kids, it's there nights where it's countless sleep sometimes. Countless sleep. Like like you, cause you here. Your kids, when you have kids that's on the like on the spectrum, things have to be a certain way. Like Roman goes to sleep a certain way every night. Like the pillow has to be a certain way, the cover has to be a certain way, things in his room have to be a certain way. Mind you, it's dark. So for him to even like, map shit out in his head and like where something is at or whatever the case is, that's amazing to me because he will come out this room real quick and be like, no, mommy, out here. Like, it doesn't belong in there. Okay, no problem. Like, just think about that. Like, as far as having to like cater to your kids in a certain type of way. Don't get me wrong. As a parent, I still treat them just like regular ass kids. It's time to go to bed. Hey, lay on down. It's time to go to bed. Like, keep that still be regular with them. I don't do nothing out the norm like that I wouldn't do for somebody else, child. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I try to run a tight ship, a strict program. Literally, like I really do. Cause I'm not just because you're autistic doesn't mean you get to slide across. Like don't get me wrong, they do get over me though sometimes. Cause these little neglects, like you know what I'm saying? They manipulators. They will manipulate me into getting what they want. You get what I'm saying? They know exactly what they're doing. That's why I don't treat them like, different because they know what the fuck they doing. Listen, they do regular shit. You get what I'm saying? And that's the thing. They do regular shit. Like this morning, I wake up and the thing is sometimes like, and I'm pretty sure other like parents who have like, other parents out there who have kids on the spectrum, they just be doing shit. They know what a flower is, they know what a plant is, okay, because they go up to the flower, they be like, mommy smell good. Like, cool. So I already told you once not to touch it. You've been bypassed it already without touching it and everything. So I wake up, not say I wake up, but I was woken up by noise, loud noise of them just being them. I get out the bed. I'm like, what are y'all doing making all this noise? I check the time in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. Weekend day at that. Okay. Mind you, I get 6 o'clock Monday through Friday to make sure these kids, have their face washed, teeth brushed, all this type of stuff done before they get on their school bus. Okay. On the weekend, I really just be wanting to get my rest, but that's unfortunate. Not to be funny, people who have kids that are not on the spectrum, they don't have those worries. They could be like, well, okay, yeah, go sit down with kids and get your tablet and that's it. And they have to be asleep for another 6 hours. I cannot sleep for the next 5 minutes. Because you know why? It's something else that is going to attract their attention. Something that's going to stimulate them. You get what I'm saying? So I get out here, plant, floor. The flower petals, floor. And I was like, I just know you're not serious right now. Okay? Like, what makes you wanna, just fuck with shit? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, on some shit. They be doing regular shit. Regular shit just because they got a little razzle dazzle. They see little things, just because they neurodiverse don't mean shit. I still treat them like they regular ass kids. Listen, get in the house. It's a school night. Listen, I really try to play no games. No games whatsoever. This autism shit is a little ah. But listen, hey, what did I say? Oh, okay, you wanna go on a timeout? And guess what they response be? No, no timeout, mommy. No timeout, mommy. Okay, so listen to what I'm saying. Just simple as that. Simple as that. But yes, so I'm just happy to see my boys like, elevate within themselves, be who they are. I'm very much grateful for, everybody, the people that was involved in helping, make everything possible for where we are at. That's one thing. The next thing I really just like really quickly on, like really just want to touch on quickly is advocacy. They you cannot stress enough just to be like, to be the greatest advocate for your children when it comes to, you know, the IEPs, the evaluation, all these things. Speak up. Like, don't be afraid. Like, this is just like something to say to the parents out there who are maybe experiencing certain things, but they haven't gone yet. And even to the parents that, like, had like that do know, never stop advocating for your children. If you're in the beginning stages, advocate for your kids because you are their voice. And we have to be their biggest voice for them. If you feel like, he needs or she needs a little more, then that's what you go for because we are in the time right now where like this autism epidemic is really like reaching and reaching and reaching. It's really like, people coming out sitting there saying that, and advocacy is best. And not to be funny, like I wish like celebrities, I see like a lot of people are coming out more talking about like their kids having autism. But I feel like, I just want y'all to keep this in mind. For the celebrities that's coming out with their children, with autism and stuff like that, trust and believe they have felt what I have probably most likely felt. How am I going to sit there and, how my child going to blend in with other people and stuff? Like you feel like you're the oddball out. You get what I'm saying? And that's why, like, not to be funny, since we're already in a world where people already love social media and they love these celebrities and stuff like that, would you love them with their kids? Ain't something wrong with them. You know what I'm saying? That's why I respect people like Fat Joe, always talking about, bringing awareness to like, who his son is and, his journey, his life with his son, because it's tough because people really need to understand and really know like what it's like on the other side. Like just because this person is famous don't mean they don't go through shit. And just because I'm a regular ass female right now talking to you, I don't mean I don't go through shit. Like this shit is tough. It's hard. You have your good days, you have your bad days, but never stop advocating like for your kid because trust and believe there's gonna be a time where you're advocating for your kid will pay off. Do you get what I'm saying? Like a prime example, Roman was getting a speech 2 times a week. And I sat there and said, like, I feel like speech is the biggest thing, like, I'm really on. And I want him to get it, like, can we boost it up to 3 times a week? Because he was taking the occupational therapy as well. So I was like, okay, no problem. And eventually that's what happened. And then guess what? We advocated again. Well, can we get, this as well? Because I feel like with this right here, this is going on. It's okay because you know what's best for your kid. I'm not saying that these people out here who are conducting these, evaluations that they don't know in their license in their field. Yeah. But you live with your child day in and day out. You know what triggers them. You know what, stimulates them in a positive way, in a negative way. So we have to be um our children's biggest, biggest advocate. You get what I'm saying? So yes. Ooh, like Lord. Oh goodness. It's like so like, it's a little bit emotional for me because like, I'm happy that my voice for my children, like, was able to be heard um to the professional world, but also to God himself. You get what I'm saying? Because like I said, yeah, you can advocate, but I'm just saying keep in mind, advocate to the Lord too. Don't stop that. Because it's all said and written. God got it all planned out. So you just gotta trust the process, like really trust the process and trust and believe that God will, there's a reason for everything. We may not understand it right now, but all the beautiful souls that are on the spectrum, all the beautiful souls that are neurodiverse, like they are brilliant people. And we may not understand them, but I'm pretty sure in certain times, in certain scenarios, I hope you people are able to see the light that they give this world. And I hope that we as people, we don't try to dim that. You get what I'm saying? I hope we don't try to dim that light at all because we need them just as much as they need us. Yes. Whew, Lord, this was a good up episode there. Yes, 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 I am. But listen, like I said from the beginning, like I know I've been gone for 2 weeks. So I just want to just thank you guys for waiting on me. Okay. I really had to finish some things up, which was like just school, mom life type shit, whatever the case is. But like really more importantly, like school. We're in that season for midterms. Midterms just finished. Not too long ago, I had my interview with Kid Miro at my school, Lehman College. Shout out Lehman. It was such a beautiful experience. And shout out to the people who came to support me. I really do appreciate that. Really, really, really do appreciate that. Shout out to my homegirl, Shamika, aka Meek. Baby girl really popped out for me. And I appreciate that. Having a friend come support you, to see you in your craft, to see you in, just your education mode, whatever the case is, was a good thing. And to shout out to my kid's dad for coming to support me. Um, because, you don't have to like, and that's the thing with like, as far as just like, being parents to our children, I just appreciate him coming to support me in my craft because it's not something that he had to do. You know, he genuinely just wanted to do. So, and that's the thing, like, you just have to keep just a word of advice or just just a little let out before and get ready to close out, whatever the case is. Keep people that really want to see you do good, who want to like follow you in your craft. I know this has nothing to do with what we spoke about, but just a key reminder. Keep those people around you. You get what I'm saying? I would have never thought in a million years that I would probably had the experience to do like a interview with Kid Miro, have him come to my school. If you don't know who Kid Miro is, he does mornings with Miros, mornings with Miro on Hot 97. So it was a blessing. It was a great opportunity. I want to be able to support my friends, just like I want them to support me. And to be honest, Shamika definitely showed up, came all the way to the Bronx and showed love. And I appreciate that. Like she's definitely a real one for that. But yeah, like keep those people. All the other shit. If people don't want to show up, people don't want to do none of that. Leave them where they be. You know what I'm saying? But just keep being you at the end of the day. Feel me? All right. So as I close out this episode, y'all, like I said, to anyone who's listening, who is like, walking a similar path, parents, caregivers, and like, individuals that's navigating their own spectrum, like know that your walk is seen and your strength is totally unmatched. We are moving through a world that often tries to dim our light, but we have to remember that we are the ones that's holding the flame. So I dedicate this to my boys who are my greatest teachers and the very rhythm of my like. So I just want to say thank you again for being a part of this journey so far. I want you guys to be kind to one another. Look for the unspoken beauty in your day and in people. And as I always say, keep your soul in alignment, your head in the game, and your heart in the walk. I'm your host, Juju, and this is Court Talk Soul Walk.